Finding Sarah Marshall is the movie starring and written by Jason Segel as a man who, after a bad breakup with a celebrity girlfriend, goes on a Hawaiian vacation to kind of escape, only to find his ex-girlfriend and new boyfriend are there.
Yep.
So, Nate, April 2018, 10 years ago, we saw the release of this film.
Yeah.
So, let's just start with the first time you saw it. Like, how did you receive it?
Yeah,
initially?
I saw it. I didn't see it in theaters, actually. I rented this one, and I think it was sort of a sleeper hit, maybe. I don't know, but I watched this completely surprised at how much I love this movie and how much I laughed at this movie. It is really, really funny and has a lot of heart. What about you?
Yeah, I think this one kind of got lost into the sea of like all these Apatow
movies.
produced comedies. Like you had Superbad the year before. Later this year, you saw Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, I think this is the one out of like those movies. I think this one has one of the more relatable stories. And also, I think that this movie has like the most heart. Even though there's a lot of heart in both Pineapple Express and Superbad, I think this one has the most out of those Apatow crop of comedies.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it has the most heart in so many different ways, especially obviously with relationships, with breakups. I think everyone can really relate to this movie. It's a good breakup movie, but also just like following your dreams and doing what you're supposed to be doing or doing what you want to be doing. I think it has a lot of really clear and really positive messages in this movie, which why, to me, it stands out of all those. I watched this movie more than I watched Superbad, I think. I've seen this movie more times.
I can't say that I've watched it more than the other two we mentioned, but I do think that this one does a great depiction of like all the stages of a breakup, like from rebounding, from like just how you're overly emotional, to like when you're starting to get sentimental and reminisce things about your past relationship. I think that it's a great depiction of it, and this is like the sweet version of a breakup movie.
Yeah.
If High Fidelity is kind of like the sour or bitter version,
For sure.
So I do like that it's tackling the breakup situation just as well as High Fidelity, but just a little bit sweeter and a little bit more funnier this time around.
Yeah, I like that it's not as cynical, and just like the movie The Breakup, that movie's very cynical and like not rewatchable in my opinion. It's just not that funny, but with this one it adds enough elements of slapstick and relatability that it has a nice balance, and it has just so many great actors and cameos and funny moments in this. So let's talk a little bit about, well, Jason Segel is a standout in this. I mean, especially for him to write this and to be so likable and genuine and relatable. I think that it's probably his best role.
Yeah, you're constantly rooting for him,
Yeah.
and you understand the decisions that he makes. And I'm glad that this isn't one of those breakup movies where they're trying to push you towards, like, don't you want him to get back together? It's like, no, you want him to move on.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want them to get back together.
No, not at
the
all.
movie never gives you any reason to cheer for that. So I do enjoy that, and the cast, top to bottom, just so great.
funny.
Even people are in like a handful of scenes, like Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's my favorite.
And Jonah Hill and Bill Hader, just all these great actors, and
Yeah.
everybody contributes to the scene, and no dialogue is wasted, no scene is wasted. I think this is like one of the more better paced films.
Yeah, I think so too. And because also all these, once again, it's a very likable movie, and all the characters are very likable. I would say Sarah Marshall's the least likable character out of everybody.
But I don't hate her.
But I don't hate her.
Right.
And I don't hate Russell Brand's character either. I actually kind of like him. You
Yeah,
hate him?
there's a charm.
You don't like Russell Brand.
That's it. There's a charm to the character of Aldous Snow, but like Russell Brand it's just kind of funny how like this movie came out just 10 years ago, and since then we've seen like this was the debut of Russell Brand. We saw him kind of blow up, and now he's just faded into obscurity.
He Dane
all
Cooked.
all within a decade.
Yeah.
So I did like, even though I kind of have a little beef against Russell Brand, I just don't really like who he is.
He doesn't bring the movie down though.
No. I still found myself like, I remember when I saw this, and he was so charming and funny, and I really did enjoy this character. So I was able to like let all that stuff go when I was watching the movie, and really enjoyed this character once again.
Yeah, and I like that they interject a lot of entertainment aspects to this. His job, he just does ominous tones for crime scene of the crime, which is just such a funny take on like CSI and all those movies. I mean, shout out to Billy Baldwin of how funny he is in this movie too.
Jason Bateman in the post credits.
Jason Bateman in the post credits, super funny as well.
The setting helps. It serves to the story too. The isolation of it all, and that you're supposed to be in this beautiful paradise, having the time of your life, but you can't because your ex and her new boyfriend are right there in your face at every turn.
Yeah, there's just this lingering cloud over this beautiful setting the whole time, and yeah, they capture it perfectly. Do you have any flaws with it aside from Russell Brand?
I mean, I can't hold Russell Brand against this movie. I mean, like I said, this was kind of when we were just getting a taste of him. I think there can be too much of him, but the fact that we haven't seen him in anything for a while, it's kind of funny to see him again in what I would say was his best role. But I think that I don't know, just everything kind of seems a little too like coincidental
Yeah.
sometimes with the plot and the narrative, and just the fact that they have to have rooms next to each other, kind of things like that. Like
Yeah.
they helped drive the plot forward, but just some of it seemed just a little, at times, just a little far-fetched at like how often they ran into each other.
Yeah, I could see that. It also wraps up in a nice little bow. He learns a lot of lessons within one vacation.
Yeah.
That just sort of like, but that's okay. That's what it's supposed to be, like moving on, and they have to wrap it up in a movie. And there's also, I don't know if anyone's a little squeamish of full frontal male nudity. I know that this team of filmmakers think penises are funny. That's just, and they are. But like for some people, I think that might turn it off. I was just so, because to me, it's hilariously jarring. How
Right,
full
yeah.
frontal it is, but for some people it might be a little bit of a sway for them.
Yeah.
It turns R-rated pretty quick.
Yeah, and if I'm getting nitpicky, the whole like Access Hollywood exposition episode in the beginning, like this is their relationship,
Yeah.
this is who he is, this is who she is. That was a
Yeah.
little too convenient as well.
Just like shoehorned right in there.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah, I agree.
Buffs.
All right, Nate, so we both very much enjoyed this movie when it came out 10 years ago. So before you give me your score, just go ahead and tell me, does it hold up 10 years later? Is it still as good, better, or worse?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it 100% holds up. I think it gets better with age, actually. I think it's one of those like age-old movies. I mean, not quite like Annie Hall or anything like that, but something you can go back to experience young love and young breakup. So I think it's very relatable, and yeah, I think it's still really, really funny. And I'm going pretty high with this. I love this movie. I'm going 9 out of 10. I think Forgetting Sarah Marshall is fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching this movie again. I definitely think that it holds up. I would say it's just as good as it was 10 years ago. And having been in more relationships in the past 10 years, like it does become more relatable, and there are funnier moments,
Yeah.
but there are also some kind of self-reflective moments where
Very
I'm like,
much so.
oh, I remember being like that.
Yeah.
But it is a very funny movie. The characters carry it. The comedy's great, and the plot is very well paced. I'm going to give Sarah Marshall an 8.5 out of 10.
Buffs.
All right, so that's it for our review of Forgetting Sarah Marshall. What do you guys think? Does it still hold up 10 years later? Go ahead and leave a comment down below.
Yeah, for the month of May, we'll be reviewing Iron Man, the movie that kicked it all off for the MCU. I mean, it'll be appropriate after Avengers Infinity War that we go
All
back
the way
to
back.
the beginning. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So we'll bring you that review next month. But wherever you are, whoever you're with,
Watch more movies.